Hello everybody and welcome back to Rogue Tech, where we are currently needing to get a few repairs here, 5 days worth, not too bad. Let's tick on forward, get those done, and then we'll see what we can do for additional difficulty, since apparently we need it. We're gonna hop into the command center and see what's available for right now. Like I said previously, I don't think that the last mission was representative of a 3-skill difficulty. We could try this escort mission and see how this goes. It's much better max salvage. 2.3 million max pay. No free priority salvage, sadly. But we can at least sit here and see what this is up against. Wow, we're gonna make the Steiners maybe a little bit angry, but you know, that's not necessarily the worst thing. So let's get all this good to go. We are not able to drop anyone other than these 5 for the moment, but we've got an escort lance that we're gonna have control of, so that's fine. This is in Badlands, so heat's gonna be a little up there. But honestly, none of our mechs really have a huge heat problem, so it should be fine. Darius thinks it's going to be hard. I hope you're right, Darius. I hope you're right. We haven't had much for serious difficulty yet, and it would be definitely a good thing to have that crank up a bit. Again, I'm on default settings here with the exception of planetary difficulty rather than lance difficulty, because if you're on lance difficulty, then there's not a lot of point to move from planet to planet, in my opinion, unless you're going after specific flashpoints. So I prefer to sit on planet difficulty, and that shouldn't, in theory, adjust the actual difficulty of it too much. We could just choose what difficulty we want to be presented with, right? That's the only major difference there. But we're currently being presented with 3-skill difficulty. If this is significantly easy, and I should probably cut out this loading screen, but I do want to say, if this is significantly easy, we'll probably go to a more difficult area again. We'll see how it goes. See you guys after this is loaded. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's begin this mission and see what we're up against. As I was saying, it has been very easy, and hopefully that will no longer be the case for too much longer. So that's the facility that the convoy is at right now. The question is there a blocking force? The answer to that is there's something down over here. No doubt about that. We could spawn here. Whatever it is down here. We would be in a pretty advantageous position here. We could go to the convoy point. We could fight whatever it is. Let's spawn here. I like this position, partway up this hill. And in this cover. There's something down over here. I'm going to send our scimitar down to check it out.
Onward.
Absolutely nothing. This is the evac point, right? Or maybe not. Okay, let's head off over towards the capture zone then.
On the move.
We'll have... I'm not sure why it wouldn't let us spawn down here. We'll have the scimitar check it out down there a bit.
Moving out.
But let's see what we've got here. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to capture this zone just yet. It looks like there's absolutely no enemies on the map at this moment.
Position confirmed.
Okay.
I'm going.
Well, we're going to hop into the capture zone then. And our Shadowhawk is going to close in as much as we can. Remember, we can always just slow down the convoy and let other things catch up if we need to. So where's the evac point? And where are the enemies? So there are reinforcements. Those are down here now. And that is the escort zone. Okay. Sounds good.
I've got your back.
So our Centaur is just going to head on down this direction. And what do we see? We see a Sturm Blitz, and we see an AC-10 carrier. Okay. For the moment, those are reasonably fine. I don't think we're going to move any of these... Oh, I should have reserved them. Okay. We're going to move our hoplite out over here. Oh, hello. A Challenger X and a Shiltron. So we're definitely starting to run into some slightly tougher enemies. I want to reserve. And let them move first. Because they currently have a lot of evasive, right? So we'll let them move, and we'll see what we get out of this. It could potentially be painful. I believe these vehicles do have some pretty decent amounts of resources. Okay, I'm going to reserve again. They didn't actually move. I'm not sure. I think this Shiltron lost all of its evasive there, but I'm not 100% on that. So I'm going to continue to reserve until we have more options here. Okay, so the Sturm Blitz moves up. Does not fire. Okay. Let's continue to reserve. 2 more of them need to move here. We're already through half of them. So that looks fine. AC-10 carrier moves up. Does not fire. I'm going to continue to reserve here. 1 more reservation. This final unit will move here, and then we're going to start doing what we can here. So that'll be good. We need to eliminate these rather quickly. It got 1 missile into the Apollo. I don't care. That's fine. So at this point, we can start to move up here. ER medium laser, grenade launchers, dual machine guns. Okay. What if we were to position it about here? Distance from other convoy units is a problem there. Okay. So it's pretty much going to have to be out of LOS here. That is certainly unfortunate. We can position it here. I think we'll fire our grenade launchers up here at the Sturmblitz.
Engaging target.
Okay, a little bit of damage there, not much. And then we've got a Goblin running a large pulse laser, SRM-6 machine guns. It needs to be in direct fire LOS. Okay, so I'd like to position it here, but unfortunately that is too far from the other units. We'll position it here in obstructed LOS, and we'll hit this Sturmblitz with what we can. Okay, a little bit of armor damage there. That's fine. We're not expecting too much out of these vehicles, to be honest. So this is a large pulse laser, SRM-6 Valiant machine guns. So that actually can't position here. That's sad. Okay. Can it position here? No. So it just can't go... Well, it could go here, and that's within LOS, I suppose. So we'll do that for now. Okay. Reasonable damage into the side arc of that Sturmblitz. That'll be fine. So now what I want to do is I want to take our hoplite and position it here.
On my way.
Now I do want to take a look here. Do we see what weapons these are? AC-10s, LRM-5. Okay. Noted. Okay, hit odds. 90.4% on the Challenger X MBT. So we'll fire on this main battle tank. It has a lot of frontal armor.
Target confirmed.
Oh, we missed a 95% shot with that Gauss. That is very unfortunate. So our Scimitar at this point wants to get into rear arc, right? And this is in the autocannon minimum range, absolutely, but we still have reasonable hit odds with it, remarkably. So we're getting the rear arc on this Schiltron, which is still fairly well armored. That's fine. Okay, so the Apollo should absolutely move into cover over here. And we can fire on... Hit odds are slightly better on the Sturmblitz, so we'll do that. Its side arc armor isn't all that strong, so we'll do some damage there.
Commander.
And next, our Shadowhawk is going to need to, like, sprint up over here. We can absolutely fire on that Sturmblitz with the MRM, but we're going to need to mostly close in. Okay. Now our Centaur moves, and we can close in over this direction. I would like to keep firing on the Sturmblitz, side arc here.
Here we go.
We don't quite take out the Sturmblitz there. That is unfortunate. It was very close. We did breach the armor, and we did a good amount of side arc damage to the AC-10 carrier as well. So this Goblin really needs to be reserved, because we need to move this burrow, is what we really need to do here. So that guy would come up right here, and that's going to allow us to move significantly further. Now we're going to fire the MG in X6 mode and just crit fish in this torso.
Engaging target.
And we got no damage done with it. But we can now move up over to about here. Now this is rear arc on both, and we would end up firing on the Sturmblitz.
All weapons committed.
Sadly, we didn't take it out there either. So what moves now? This is going to be this guy, the AC-10 carrier. So this could hurt. We'll see what happens with that. Moving in on our Centaur then. Missing its charge and not firing. Okay. I like it. So I kind of want to position about here or so. Let's see, this is the left side. So yeah, that's the correct side to hit it from there. We could absolutely go for the AC-10 carrier here. The Sternblitz moves in phase 12. What phase is it right now? It is phase 12. So that is going to be the next mover. I want to eliminate this. I don't want to give it a chance to fire that AC-20. It's gone. Phenomenal. So it's out of here. We need to get around to this side to attack the AC-10 carrier.
Destroyed.
That'll be fine.
I will be
And our
done.
scimitar is, of course, going to just be chilling in the back lines here. Yeah, this'll do. We can get a shot on either of these, which has weaker rear armor, 125 and 180. So the Shiltrin.
See how you handle this.
We're not going to kill it, of course, but we can soften it up a little bit. And now it's going to be the Shiltrin moving. Okay, we'll see what it wants to do. It's got a lot of weapon systems. It could potentially do quite a lot of damage. Okay, so it goes for the scimitar,
I'm under
unloads
heavy fire.
heavily on the scimitar. And it does have additional ammunition there. So that is absolutely noted.
Commander.
Our Apollo is going to want to move up here. I don't want to go for the AC-10 carrier. I'd like to stay in cover, but maybe we just move up to here.
Acknowledged.
LBX AC-10 Gauss rifle. Okay, that Challenger 2 is going to be rough, but that Shiltrin has tons of MRMs, right? Just absolutely tons of them.
Primitive.
Both of those are going to be painful for us, so we're going to need to do as much damage as we can to both of these vehicles over here. Now, we'll see what happens with the Challenger. This could really hurt. LBX AC-10 Gauss rifle? Yeah, that could be spicy. If it fires on the scimitar might go boom. We'll see what it does. It went for the Apollo. Now, the Gauss rifle went back over here. I don't think it stray shot anything.
Armor's getting stripped off.
Yeah, so the Gauss rifle just straight up missed. That is phenomenal. I'm going to move our Goblin out over here, and we're going to fire side arc into this AC-10 carrier. And it's out of here. Perfect. So the AC-10 carrier is gone. Now, we're not having the biggest amount of problems with these units. But to be clear, this is definitely a step above what came before. Absolutely. I want to keep hitting this Shiltrin. We're going to fire the rocket pack as well. Structure exposure, and it's gone. So in terms of weapon systems, this is definitely like getting into the heavies, right? No doubt about that. Our Shadowhawk is going to close in on this Challenger. I don't expect to get too much out of this, but we can bump up to 6 machine guns. We're just going to be peppering his armor a little bit here.
Copy that.
It's really not going to be very much. Okay, so next our Centaur comes in. Our Centaur does not get into rear arc of the Challenger, but we do hit its side arc here. And it could theoretically be okay. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
Okay. It's got that AMS in there. It doesn't move until phase 6, so that side arc is weakened at this point. But I still like the rear arc shots. No doubt about that. We're going to have to keep going this direction with our vehicles. So for now, we're just going to head down here. This is really out of LOS of our vehicles. I don't really want to fire the grenade launchers necessarily either. Well, what ammo types do we have? Just flare and smoke? Okay. I think we're just going to fire some chaff LRM-5s up here. Trigger its AMS there. We don't get any damage, but that's fine. That's absolutely okay. So we're going to move up our Goblin ISV, and that's not going to really do anything at the moment.
Yes,
Our
Commander.
Shadowhawk can close into side arc here, and I think we absolutely fire the M-Pod, because I would really like for this Challenger to not get another shot. So another good chunk of damage there, but its armor is very thick. Very, very thick.
Commander.
At this point, our Scimitar can get up into, like, side arc off over here, but I really don't know if that's where we want it to go. Here. This is on the other side, which isn't ideal, but we can do something like that and just soften it up from this side a little bit. The Apollo can position here. This is not within minimum range, and this is going to start doing quite a bit of damage to the front arc. Now, this Challenger has a lot of armor.
Firing full complement on enemy.
No doubt about it. But we did expose the structure there.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
So that's actually huge. We exposed the structure in that side. So I'd like to get around to the side arc with the hoplite. It doesn't... Actually, it does have a place to do that. Good enough hit odds that I don't think we're going to stray shot our Shadowhawk either. And there we go. The Challenger is out of here. So, to be clear, we didn't have the hugest amount of difficulty dealing with that lance. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to have a huge amount of difficulty in the future, because that particular lance wasn't the best lance. But based on the weight of the weaponry, that does indicate to me that we're at a reasonable difficulty level for the current... for our current position, right?
Acknowledged.
Like, those MRM-40s could have done a lot, and they almost did. I do want to move up our burrow first here, and move that to about here. There we go. And I'd like to put these guys just outside. It's likely that we're going to have another set of units spawn here. Okay, so I'm going to wait to move our units. We're going to get the burrow inside. That should spawn units. Yes, up over here. Noted. Okay. So more Steiners off over there. We're going to get our Goblin into the escort zone. We're going to get all of our vehicles, in fact, into the escort zone here. Can we move? There we go. Cool. So what do we have down over here? We see a Hollander 2, a Shadowhawk, a Blackjack, and a Crossbow. Noted. That's not the heaviest of mechs, no doubt about that, and we're going to move to engage them. So our Shadowhawk is going to head on down, our Apollo and our Hoplite. And we're just moving as much as we can for the time being. Okay. So there's our dropship landing here. And these guys are going to have to remain where they are for this round. They'll be vulnerable to fire, but they haven't really taken much for fire thus far. So that should be okay. I want to move in with our Centaur here. I'm thinking right now about what front arc might we be interested in focusing. Well, really, what we're interested in doing right now is reservation. I want to reserve everything back and allow them to move first. If they come towards us, great. If they eliminate our Scimitar, it's okay. The Scimitar is very weak on its armor, no doubt about that. So the Crossbow moves up, fires on this Goblin ISV. Okay, that's no problem. It misses both. I'm going to continue to reserve here. We're going to let all three of these move, I think. If we can get in behind them this round, then that's huge. So the Shadowhawk moves up, stands in the mineral field, and doesn't actually fire. Next up is going to be the Blackjack, and that's a, like, long-range fire support direct fire mech, right? So we'll see what it does. Shoots at this Goblin. That's okay. I don't care about that. Can do that all at once. So now they've only got one more mech that they haven't moved, the Hollander 2. That, of course, has got that Gauss rifle, and that could do some real damage. We'll see what it shoots at, but everything should have reasonable evasive for the moment. Except for the vehicles, and so it'll be most likely to want to fire at the vehicles. It actually doesn't fire at anything at all. I'm going to move our Apollo in over here. Let's check hit odds. 28%, 56%, 63, and 63. Okay, so looks like for front arc, the Crossbow is the target here.
Firing.
Has the best hit odds and the lowest armor. So that's what we'll go for.
Ready for order.
The Hoplite is, of course, going to head on in over here, and we hope that we don't stray shot our Scimitar as we fire at the Crossbow here. In fact, I think we're more likely to stray shot the Shadowhawk. Hit odds aren't great at this range. We get a couple of hits in there, though. So that's all good. At this point, we could definitely fire our large pulse laser out at the Crossbow.
Engaging target.
26 damage, not bad. And this guy's got a large pulse laser as well. He doesn't have LOS, so nothing to be done there. And then this is, of course, the grenade launchers, right? So we're okay with launching some flares out over this way. Nice. And then this is the guy with the A-pod and the M-pod. We just don't have any LOS, so nothing to be done there. Cool. Next up, of course, is our Scimitar, which is going to be looking at making its way around into rear arcs. So we have access to the rear arc of the Shadowhawk and the crossbow here. Let's fire on the crossbow's rear arc. No armor breakthrough there, but that's okay.
How can I help?
Our Centaur is at best going to get side arc here, and that's what we're going to take. So we're going to sprint on in and hit this crossbow. This will make it unstable at the very least.
Roger that.
Nice.
Take that as a lesson.
So that's very solid there. And at this point, our Shadowhawk is going to sprint in, and I want it to come engage their Shadowhawk. So we're going to attack here. I'm going to fire the machine guns in like X3 mode. We don't need to be too much higher than that right now. And we're just taking pot shots at this thing to soften it up a bit. So that'll be okay. And the objective is out of here. The evac zone is right here. So we could evac if we wanted to. But I kind of don't want to. I want to eliminate these guys. So that'll be absolutely fine. We're probably not too interested in these chassis, to be honest. But the hoplite can close in here, and I want to continue to focus fire on this crossbow.
Got it.
Okay, so that's a knockdown. Phenomenal. Reserves it back to phase 7. I like it. So the Apollo is going to continue to close in over here. We could go for the Shadowhawk, 20% hit odds. Obviously, our best hit odds are going to be on the crossbow, except they're actually equal on the Blackjack, which is interesting. And reasonable on the Hollander as well. I think we'll fire at the Blackjack here. I've changed my mind. We're going to go for the crossbow. The reason I've changed my mind is the Blackjack has really weak rear armor. We can get the kill on the crossbow just like that, and then we can get in behind the Blackjack and backstab it. So the Scimitar is going to move in here, where it has rear arc on everything. Now, these are within minimum range, but they're still reasonable hit odds. I should have moved a little further back. But we can soften up the rear arc on the Blackjack slightly, and let's see what it decides to do here. They're going to be moving the Blackjack and the Shadowhawk. The Shadowhawk moves way out here. Interesting move. I don't think we can get into rear arc with our Shadowhawk from there. I don't think it's a good move. And the Blackjack moves up to engage the Apollo. That is an objectively terrible move. Okay. So at this point,
Got your back.
our Centaur could go for the Hollander. And honestly, I think that the Hollander is the obvious target here. So we position right here. We get in behind it. And we hopefully bring this Gauss rifle out of the fight immediately.
Copy that.
We took out some Gauss ammo. Does it only have the 1 ton of Gauss ammo? If so, that Gauss rifle is out of the fight. It must have a 2nd ton of Gauss ammo. Okay. We did very little internal damage there. We had a bad clustering roll. Let's see what happens with the Gauss here. Ooh. Yikes. Didn't want to take that shot, but here we are.
Reporting heavy fire.
You'll be fine. I'm not too concerned.
Yes, Commander.
So our Shadowhawk, like I said, I'm not sure if we can get into rear arc with their Shadowhawk. It's close. We can get in over here and just hit it here. We can't quite go into melee range, sadly. But we can do some damage from this position. Cool. Next up, we're going to have our hoplite close in a little bit over here.
On my way.
Who do we go for? I think the Blackjack is the obvious choice here. Yes. We're going to go for the Blackjack. Ooh, that's a solid hit with the Gauss. No major internal damage there, but that was not bad at all. Not bad in the slightest. So the Blackjack is going to move now. The Hollander rolled up 12, so it's definitely not going to be moving here. That's internal damage in the Apollo. Okay, where is that exposure at? That must be where the Gauss hit. That is in the CT. Okay.
Talk to me.
So the Centaur absolutely needs to get in here and eliminate the Hollander.
Roger.
It's dead here. Guaranteed.
Affirmative.
There we go. 1 dead Hollander. Now the Blackjack is a bit of a problem. We're going to move up into rear arc of it. Unfortunately, this is within the minimum range, but we'll get some damage in there.
Yes, Commander.
Okay, and then the Apollo really does need to angle itself in some way. This isn't a great angling because
Roger
it's
that.
going to expose the rear armor to the Shadowhawk, but I mean, it's better to have some armor than none at all in the CT, right? So we're going to fire on the Blackjack here and do what we can. Took out a heat sink.
Reporting critical hit.
No major issues there. Now the Shadowhawk moves, and it's not in a great position to take advantage of the armor exposure. But it does continue to hit the Apollo. So the Apollo is taking heavy fire here. But we should be able to handle that. We can now get into position to melee attack the Shadowhawk from the rear arc. So this is kind of huge. I'm just checking our hit odds here. Kick is the highest hit odds for the melee. Okay, do it.
Affirmative. Engage.
Yeah, we hit it. Fantastic. So that's going to do a lot of rear arc damage to this Shadowhawk. It does not breach the armor, though. Gets close.
How can I help?
Our Centaur at this point is absolutely going to get in to
Roger
remove the
that.
Blackjack from the field.
Confirm.
No more Blackjack after this one. Phenomenal.
That's
So the
one
Blackjack
less
is out of
on
here, and now we need to eliminate the
Location
Shadowhawk.
confirmed.
Hopefully we don't stray shot with our Gauss rifle. We didn't. That's good. So structure exposure on the Shadowhawk
Receiving
looks
it.
absolutely fine. Let's position ourselves about here.
Rolling.
61.8.
Affirmative.
Okay. More internal damage into that Shadowhawk. And it gets to move now before we can respond with our Apollo. This could potentially be a problem. Destroys a small pulse laser Magna.
Friendlies.
And our pilot ejects. He panics and ejects. That is
Receiving you.
not great. So that cockpit's going to be destroyed. It's not the end of the world, but the pilot shouldn't have ejected there. The Shadowhawk is under control. Absolutely, the Shadowhawk is under control here. If he had just held out for one more round, but he didn't, so
Got
it's
my
okay.
attention.
The Centaur is going to close in as much as possible here. This
I
is
am moving
interrupted LOS, but we're still going to fire
Roger
on it.
that.
Okay, we got a head hit there.
Commander.
The hoplite can position right up over here
Position confirmed.
and continue to hit that Shadowhawk. That's a knockdown.
Mess them up. Good.
Actually, pilot ejects. Okay. So there we go. So the Apollo ejection was definitely unnecessary, but, you know, what are you going to do? Pilot panicked. That happens. So that's okay. I mean, I don't know what FCS was in that head. Replacing the head is going to be interesting. We're going to have to replace that small pulse laser as well. Honestly, replacing that with something like just a medium laser might not be bad for the Apollo, because the small pulse laser is pretty short range. So that's not the worst of things. That was definitely a step up on the difficulty level. So what was in that head? FCS missile range, and that's basically it. Okay, we probably don't care that much about the missile range, but the Apollo definitely took a bit of a beating there. No doubt about that. So what do we want to grab here? We could grab a crossbow, and that is technically a missile support heavy. That could be an interesting solution to our MRM-40s. That could be an interesting solution to our problem with the Apollo. Potentially. If we took this, we wouldn't be able to get anything else. But maybe we end up rolling up those MRM-40s or the Gauss rifle. Or the AC-20. Let's see what we get. Just the crossbow. Okay. So that used up all of them. Okay, gotcha. That's fine. So we'll take the crossbow. I'm fine with that. Just taking the crossbow is okay. I would love to have those MRM-40s, but they're kind of a lower priority. We'll get MRM-40s. It'll happen. We won't always have the chance to get a crossbow. That's our first heavy, so we'll absolutely take that. Now, as far as getting it online goes, that's going to be interesting. And as far as getting the Apollo repaired, we're going to need to do that. So what we want to do is we want to tell Yang to go ahead and get everything repaired. We want to get the Apollo and the crossbow repairing as high priority items. The real question is, what is the state of that crossbow and what is the state we can put it into? Yes, go ahead and do that, but we're going to cancel the repairs on the Apollo. There we go. And we're going to cancel the Apollo. So just do that. So it's actually just the Centaur that took any damage. Okay, noted. That's absolutely fine. We're going to hop into the Apollo. We need to refit this because the head needs to be replaced. And we need to do something about that small pulse laser. So let's take a quick look at this setup. FCS standard. So yeah, FCS missile range and the pulse laser. That is reasonably expected. We've got 7 free tons right now. That's intriguing. Why does this have 7 tons free? Well, in that case, we could certainly put in, I mean, a small pulse laser weighs how much? 1 ton. We can replace that with a medium laser and have a little bit more range there. Where does this go? Center torso. Gotcha. Oh, right. We need to max out the armor. So something along the lines of this would do. Approximately. One thing we might want to consider doing is, well, getting an FCS in there if we've got one. Do we not have any FCSs right now? Just a couple of standards. Okay. Well, that's not ideal. But what we could think about doing is putting ferrofibrous armor on here. With the idea behind that being, we use that to max the armor a little further. Make it a little bit tougher, like that. I don't think... Well, we do have endosteel structure. Could we fit endosteel in here? Actually, we could. That gives us 1.471 tons. We could drop the ferrofibrous, just do the endosteel, and then drop a teeny tiny amount of armor in the legs. Like that. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. We could even drop the small pulse laser, and the medium laser aggro is -1 accuracy, right? So we could just go for a pair of medium lasers here. Like that. Do it. Let's get that Apollo ready to go. I would like to get a better FCS in there, but it is what it is, so that's fine. As far as the crossbow goes, let's take a look at what it's got and what we can do with it. Okay, so it starts with an Engine Core 300, and it loses a medium laser. These are Omni points, I think. Yeah, those are Omni points. Fascinating. So this thing could do a lot of things. We could drop the AC-10 and the PPC. I would like it to be a missile boat, ideally. So I don't even know if we have the missiles available for it. We have an LRM-20, and that's kind of it right now. So we might not want to get the crossbow repaired at this moment, or at least just max out the armor like this. We would need an engine core as well. So as far as that goes, we would like to put in... We could do a 280. That would be fine. And then we could just have it be like this. This is a very basic setup, right? It's got a multi-track FCS. So we could definitely set this up basically any way we wanted to, but I feel like we don't really have the weaponry to do it right now. How fast is it? Not very. Okay. Yeah. It's not ready for battle. I'm aware of that. We just don't have the weaponry for the crossbow. I think we're just going to get the internal work done. And we'll strap armor, or rather, we'll strap weapons on once we actually get some. So that'll be fine for now. We'll get that underway. That does mean, since we don't have weapons, it's a fairly low priority. And we can deploy, instead of with the Apollo, with the Trebuchet, once our mech warriors are back. Now, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll deploy with our backup missile weapon, and we don't have to have that crossbow be a missile boat. We could have it be almost anything we want with those Omni hardpoints. So that's definitely something to think about. It's going to be a little on the slower side, so we probably want it to be pretty long range, but we can certainly think about what we want it to be. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.